You can discard a feedback that you feel is not going to help you on your way. If you really believe in your business and your concept and your idea, talk about it. But burnout for me, I always catch it too late. Can you really turn that around? I don't want to live with any regrets in life. I don't want it to be 10 years' time and me to say to myself, why didn't I just take the leap?
Welcome to the ActionCOACH podcast. ActionCOACH is the world #1 in business coaching.
This is more than a podcast, it's your blueprint for success. So grab a pen and paper, take notes, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell for weekly growth insights. Let's do this.
The only name you need to know when your business is ready to grow.
All rolling.
Cool.
Human return on investment. Now, I've heard of marketing return on investment, but what on earth is human return on investment?
The human return on investment is checking in with yourself. So breaking down human return on investment, performance, thinking about burnout, thinking about stress and anxiety. I talk a lot about this in my community, on my podcast, when I'm doing public speaking, just taking a step back, thinking about where you're at, either in the business or personally, and it's all part of self-reflection. I don't think we take enough time to just be with ourselves, take a little bit of time out of our day to say, are we happy with our role, our career? And when we do more of that, magical things start to happen.
What return am I getting from who I'm being?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, how stressed do I feel? How burned out? I mean, burnout is the biggest cause of failure.
I mean, I've suffered burnout 3 times in my career already, and it's 6 years. So if you think that's almost, 1 per year, really. But burnout for me, I always catch it too late, and I see some warning signs. So I have anxiety, and I've spoken very openly about that. I think as a public speaker, it's really important that you're honest and authentic with the audience. So for me, it takes a lot to get on stage. It takes a lot to host a podcast. I really have to put myself in the right frame of mind to do that. So unfortunately with burnout, it's because I just push and push and push. I don't know my limits, which I think is a good thing when you're young and when you're really hustling and fighting for it. But sometimes, like I say, taking that step back, it's okay to pause. And as I'm getting older, I'm really understanding I need my time, I need boundaries, and I need to understand who I am. So it's a lot of inner work, I think, to kind of possibly combat burnout and manage your anxiety.
Is there any warning signs before burnout that the listeners need to pay attention to?
I would say for me, from my lived experiences, I get more anxious and I get a little bit panicky about things, and I get a lot of fulfilment and satisfaction from talking to others when it gets to the point where, not that I dread it, but I think, I've got to go and do this. When it turns into more of a job than a passion, that's when I know it's creeping in, when I know I need to take a little bit of time to just recalibrate and just, like I said at the beginning, take that step back, just be, and think, am I enjoying this? Ask those questions to yourself. If I take on that new project now, how will it benefit me in the next 4 weeks or 8 weeks' time?
But you know the warning signs now.
I do. And like I said, it really comes back down to boundaries now for me. So I don't take on more than I can chew. I'm still a hustler. I really do love outreach. I love talking to people. I would try my best to give my all. But yeah, I definitely do. I'm selective in some ways, selective about the project, selective about how much I fill my cup up to make sure that there's enough for others.
Just talk to us about this fill your cup up metaphor that you just shared.
Well, fill your cup up. So doing things that you're really passionate about. I like to do things for a good cause. So for example, like I said, spending a lot of time in the community. And
when you say in the community, what do you mean?
Events, conferences, podcasts, just spending time with people. I do a little bit of volunteering with different charities. Right. So that's giving back. I don't do it as much as I would like because of busyness, but when I can, just being around different types of people, learning about cultures, diversity. I don't think it's enough to just stay where you are. I think you should always be open to life.
You say saving enough to give to others as well.
Yeah.
So fill it up a little bit.
Fill it up 3/4 of the way, but leave a little bit for yourself. Do things that you enjoy.
What about family people? What about the entrepreneurs listening in right now? They're in work today, doing this stuff, and they're going home to a family tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, going home burnt out is like keeling over on the sofa as soon as you get in. It's a bit of a norm in society, so to speak.
Or
rather than going home with energy, because there's still a bit of something
absolutely
left.
And friendships as well. I think because, I mean, for me, from my experience, because I'm so busy all of the time, when I see my friends, I used to only speak about work, and I started to notice that pattern, and I wouldn't ask all the questions I should be asking to them. Are you okay? And we negate that sometimes, just the act of saying, are you okay? How's life? And I used to just be so immersed in the business side that I would just never take that step back. You end up losing people in life through that. So you fill that cup up 3/4 of the way, but when you're spending time with family and when you're spending time with friends, be present. That's the key message. Be present in that moment, even if it's just an hour or two.
What have you found the best techniques to stay present are?
Oh, gosh.
Because everyone's working on that.
Yeah, I think active listening. So being present for me is really focusing on that person, listening to what they're saying, trying not to dissociate, trying not to go on my phone, putting it away, and just being there.
For those that can listen, have you mastered that yet?
Not always. I mean, sometimes my phone's pinging and I don't know, I'll go and see a friend and I'm still in that meeting that I've just been in, or I've gotten some inspiration on the way and I've got to write something down. But if you can try your best, not go on your phone, and just be present with that person.
That last point that you made there about writing it down, that's quite cathartic, that, to be honest.
And I've got my notes here.
and there's some power in actually writing it down.
Yeah.
Because you're taking it out of your head.
Yeah.
And it's out of your head now, it's on a piece of paper, you don't have to remember it anymore, it's there.
I mean, the amount of notes I've got on my phone, either in the Notes app or, as I say, I have 2 or 3 different notepads in my bag.
Okay, so we got return on human investment. The first interesting thing that we've spoke about there is burnout.
Yeah.
What precedes that is probably fatigue, tiredness.
Fatigue, tiredness. Sometimes it can be self-doubt.
What do you do with self-doubt when they're creeping?
And for me, it's been a journey. I didn't always used to talk to myself very nicely, and towards the tail end of my 20s, even just the act of saying, I believe in you, I think you're worthy, the small words of affirmation go a really long way, and compounding effect over time, over years and years of doing that, it makes a huge difference. And you do really start to believe in yourself. So when the self-doubt creeps in, and again, I was talking to somebody the other day about social media and how if I scroll on social media for any longer than 1 hour, self-doubt and comparison start to creep in. So for me, a way to combat that is I try and only use it for business purposes. I try not to doom scroll. But it's hard. Self-doubt does creep in. Sometimes I can't avoid it. Sometimes I'm having a rubbish day and it hits me harder than not.
Yeah, a couple of things. Let me just magnify the first thing that you kind of alluded to there, because, self-doubt, what you hold on to, holds on to you to a degree. So if you hold on the doubts, it kind of can cling along.
Yeah.
But have you mastered the art of letting go of the doubts?
Some of them. For example, not feeling like I'm good enough. I used to feel like that a lot with public speaking, even when I was in the corporate world, talking to some of the clients they were very much in leadership roles, and I would be in meetings and think to myself, don't know if I'm good enough to be in this room. I'm just an entry-level analyst. Or even public speaking, when I gave my TEDx talk, I don't know if anybody even cares what I have to say. You should care what you have to say. They did. They really did. And the feedback, I spoke about community, and I'll never forget there was one member of the audience, and she came up to me and said, I've lived in London for 17 years and I've never felt like I had a community. I thought, I'm never going to forget that. And then she loved the talk. And it's those moments. So I think feedback, actually going off of self-doubt, going into feedback is actually really strong because it reaffirms to you, I'm on the right path.
This episode is brought to you by Jira IT, your trusted partner in IT. Whether it's cybersecurity, outsourced IT support, or IT solutions that are designed to help you grow your business, visit jirait.co.uk, where technology meets growth.
Yeah, I mean, just in wrapping that up, reaffirming, you said right at the start there, speaking well to yourself. Some of the great mindset coaches, professors, they reckon that the first thing you've got to do is stop speaking negatively to yourself about yourself.
Yeah. And that's really hard because if you live a life, and I've lived a life where I haven't really spoken to myself very nicely, you get to a point where, can you really turn that around? Can you really shift your mindset to believe? But it's a journey. It's taken years.
Okay, speak well about yourself. Approach this human ROI, if you like, return on investment.
Yeah.
Feedback. First thing that springs to mind.
Feedback. I've received a lot of harsh feedback in life about my career choices, just generally. It's difficult.
Offensive feedback.
Yes, I would say there's always a constructive element to feedback. And what I try and do now is you can discard a feedback that you feel is not going to help you on your way.
How do you do that? Because the listeners want to know.
I think writing it down, so going back to writing it down, whatever feedback you're receiving, if it's an email, if it's a rejection, if it's a no, depending what it is, how long the feedback is, write it down.
Interesting that, just a second. So if it's a rejection, if it's a no, if you've received an email, it's a no, that's feedback.
It is, because sometimes, more often than not now, it's not just a straight up no, it's a no, Alex, and then it's a da-da-da-da-da. We can't do this with you now because we're not going in this direction. And then they might say something else, and I think, is there anything else I can take from that? And for me, with feedback, early on in life, and definitely early on in my career, was very much, you hate me. And I think really when you can turn that around and just say it's not personal. And I always say with feedback that sometimes it is, but a lot of the time it's not. And definitely for entrepreneurs listening and business owners, the feedback, we can use that to really help your business. So I always say, acknowledge the feedback straight away. You can't run away from it. You've got it. Let's flip that around now. What we're going to do. Is there any kind of professional development? I'm very much a lifelong learner. Upskilling is huge for me. So if I get feedback about, sometimes it used to be public speaking, you're not good enough. And I would say, right, do I need to go and do some free events? Do I need to hire a coach? Do I need to get a mentor? Do I need to see how I can get myself in certain rooms practicing? For me, practice and preparation is key. So it's flipping it around. Nobody likes feedback. I really don't think they do. I think it just comes down to how are we going to turn this around? How are we going to use this to get you better? And then all of a sudden, that self-doubt just goes because you've got this mission.
How are we going to use this to turn it around?
Yeah.
Which could be reality. Second reality, which is a bit nicer, isn't it? How are we going to use this to make us better?
Yeah.
So you answer one of those questions first, and then you said practice and preparation.
Key.
Why is it key?
I think it's key for me. It humbles me a bit. Because I think when you don't practice and you don't prepare, and I don't know, for example, with the public speaking, with the podcast that I have, with everything that I do, if I don't prepare for that, I sometimes think I'm bigger than I am. And that's not to say that you shouldn't aspire to be great and this big and bad person that you want to be in the future you. But humble yourself a little bit. It's good to practice. It's good to prepare. It's good to feel ready. And I'm not saying you shouldn't feel uncomfortable, you shouldn't take risks, but yeah, I'm a good girl. I like to practice and prepare.
It's a humbling process.
Yeah.
Curbs the ego.
Yes. It's good to have a little bit of ego. You need to know who you are and where you're going.
Which bits of ego are good then?
knowing that you can do anything you put your mind to, knowing that you can achieve anything, knowing that nothing's off limits. There's no barriers for you. If you put your heart and soul into something, you can do it. But I think when the ego slips into, well, I've had this experience and I've achieved X, Y, and Z, so automatically makes me this type of person. I think just always, like I say, being a lifelong learner, being open to change, embracing them.
A number of the greats, they've replaced the word feedback with feed forward.
Okay.
So, for example, you said right at the start, I'm going to go there in a second, actually. You said you wanted to be liked.
Yeah.
I'm really working on Alex. Can I call you Alex now?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Alex. I really want to overcome this need to feel liked.
Yeah.
What's your best 2 bits of advice that I can do to improve on that area? Now, what I'm asking for feedback, but because I'm asking for it, Marshall Goldsmith calls this feed forward.
Interesting. So how to not be so worried about being liked by others.
Yeah.
I think getting clear on, and it goes back to what I said about picking a lane. So maybe that's a career, maybe that's somebody you'd like to work with, a client or a specific role, and being really sure about it. And it goes back to just sitting with yourself and saying, is this really what I want to do? Because if it is, and I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to give 100%, you don't care about anybody else, because you just know. You just know this is what you're built for, you know this is what you've got to do. And again, it goes back to that act of service. Well, if you don't like it, sorry, but this is my calling. This is what I've got to do. And when you can be so sure about that, it doesn't matter.
Like that. I think that's probably definiteness of purpose, belief in your future direction.
Yeah, and again, it comes with its challenges. Sometimes the self-doubt's still going to be there, because as you're rising, you're being introduced to a lot more people. You're suddenly in rooms that you didn't think you'd be in for a long time, but suddenly it's coming back around quite quickly. But again, always go back to that and affirm to yourself, this is the life I've chosen. And you have a choice. You really do. There's been certain moments in life, the TEDx, for example, I had a choice to make. I either get on that red dot, tell people about community, even though I possibly didn't feel 100% ready, or I can go for it. I'm not sure what's going to happen after, but I'm going to give it my all.
With the people in your life that told you you'd never speak at TEDx?
Not necessarily TEDx, but it's been a journey. I think it was just a combination of different things. I haven't always had the support. I haven't always had the advocacy. People really saying, you can do this, Al. I've had to give that to myself along the way. And I have got a community, and I've got certain people around me who I know are there for me, and I can ask them anything. I've got friends in my life. But it's been a lot of a solo journey, and it's been lonely at times. And I spoke about that in the TEDx with community. It's a lonely road. It's getting comfortable with that. And again, if you know where you're heading, it helps.
What do you get back from this community that you keep alluding to?
Seeing the looks on people's faces when you give a talk or...
So when you give a talk, do you call that your community?
Yeah, because obviously they have a choice to make whether they come and watch. If it's conference or an event, they're there because they want to hear the topic and they want to hear from Alex. So it's almost, I have to put myself in those shoes. They're there to learn something, so give it to them. It
kind of empowers you on the day as well.
And it takes me definitely out of the mindset of Alexandra Forsyth. Suddenly I'm just Alex. Get on the stage and do what you've got to do. It removes sometimes the fear, sometimes that self-doubt. Oh, gosh.
One of my mentors on presenting, he shared with me what I turned into an affirmation just before I present, which was, James, it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's all about them.
Yeah.
It's all about these guys.
So true. It really
and
isn't.
again, that takes the heat off and allows me to connect with an audience.
And again,
which you call your community, which I really like.
Absolutely. And I think community is all around us. So, for example, like I said towards the beginning, when people stop me in the street and ask me for directions or say hello, sometimes people will strike up a conversation when I'm on the tube. I find it quite random how it happens, but being open to that, ask them some questions. How are they doing? You just never know whose life you're going to transform or help.
Okay, so we've done human return on investment, burnout,
Feedback.
Feedback. Let's talk about dreaming big.
Yeah.
Why is that so crucial?
So I had a vision board a couple of months ago, and unbeknownst to me, when I was putting together the concept of dreaming big and what that means to me, so it's leading with courage, not waiting for permission, and without burning out. So it's doing things possibly before you're ready, getting uncomfortable, and when we spoke about taking risks, not letting that self-doubt get to you, thinking about what you want in life, all of that is dream big for me. And unbeknownst to me, after I put together kind of what I wanted to talk about, it was already on my vision board a few months ago, and it was already in plain sight. There are a couple of videos that I'd watched from my podcast really early last year. I talked about dreaming big then, and it all seemed to come together. And for me, going back to kind of feedback and possibly not having all of the support that I wanted people to champion me and advocate for me and really be there, because of not having that all along the way and it feeling like a solo journey. Dreaming big is just do it. Do it before. I don't want to live with any regrets in life. I don't want it to be 10 years' time and me to say to myself, why didn't I just take the leap? Why didn't I just do what I really came here to do?
Talk us through them three again. Lead with courage. Not waiting for permission.
Not waiting for permission. Being courageous. Having courage to say, if I choose this pathway, I'm going to give it my all.
And the last one was
find a way.
Not burning out, yeah?
Not burning out is crucial, because you want to stick to this pathway, and if you keep burning out, you're not going to get there as fast as you want. But also, it might take a bit longer. So it's a 2 for 2. You don't want to burn out because you want to keep going, but just being careful that the journey is the most special part. It's what you said at the beginning, who you're becoming.
Brad Sugars, who founded ActionCOACH, actually, he says there's really 3 levels of goals. Number 1 is away from. You want to move away from. So not waiting for permission, you're moving away from that. Not burning out, you're moving away from that. Leading with courage, you're moving toward. Moving toward is a different type of goal or dream than moving away. And sometimes they can be a combination of all these goals. And he says the third type of goal is a legacy goal, something that you're really becoming.
Everything you're doing, I always think to myself, about legacy. I always think people will look back on maybe some of the videos and they'll watch and they'll learn something in 10 to 15 years' time. So everything I do, it's not just for the current moment, it's for years down the line.
Dreaming big then, and the listeners right now, they've got their own little businesses or big businesses or teams that they've got. How can they use this and inspiration from you to start deciding the future moving forward?
I think with dreaming big, I like to say it's open to interpretation on what you think it means. But like I said, going back to courage, not waiting for permission, not burning out. So I am a really big believer in kind of putting together your mission, your vision, your purpose and your goals. I know a lot of businesses do it, and I know for the entrepreneurs and the owners listening, you will already have this either on your website or personally you'll have it written down. Not being afraid to go back there and auditing, and every 3 or 4 months or every 6 months just sitting down and thinking, am I still on that mission? What's my so what? And it goes back to what I said about just being and giving yourself time to reflect. How often do we ask that? What is the so what and why we're here? I didn't ask myself that for a long time. And then you're on this hamster wheel of work and you lose that tenacity and you lose a little bit of your identity and what you're actually made up of. And then obviously the act of service, community, that's what gives me the greatest satisfaction in life. So that's my purpose. Goals, what do you want to achieve? And not just writing it down and then coming back together in December of this year and that's it, you're done. It's every day. Is that person that I'm reaching out to the right fit for me? Is that project I'm taking on the right fit for me? Is this going to grow my business and who I'm becoming in the right way? Because they marry up together. So starting there, that's your baseline. Like I said, people are doing it, but don't be afraid to keep going, keep asking yourself that question.
I think the point of encouragement here is the first point that you mentioned. When I wrote my dream board, everything changed.
Yeah.
Not wrote the dream board, that's wrong. It's like put the pictures on the dream board.
Yeah.
Visualize
words
the
of
dreams.
affirmation, yeah.
Everything changed. And, you know, lead with courage is one of your big principles
Yeah.
off your dream board. And as soon as you labelled that, you started finding evidence for that existing.
Yeah.
Oh, I said this, I talked about this in my podcast, you said, and it's the power of intentions. It's the power of setting a point in your mind called, back here, there's something called your RAS, your reticular activating system. Have you heard it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's connected to everything else.
Yeah.
Because now you're aware of this leading with courage, you look for evidence. Oh, it's there, I'm achieving it. So I think the encouragement is, get your dream board. Get your dream board up, revisit the dream board.
Yeah.
Get really clear on these dreams.
Do the dream board, definitely. Do the vision board, the mood board, whatever you'd like to do. But I definitely write down my goals and break them up. And something that I've done for this year, I have a few goals for January, and then I've broken it down February through to April, summertime, and then into the winter season. So the dream board and the vision board or the mood board, I feel like that's the first step. It's a really lovely activity to do either on your own with friends, with a team if it's your business, but get intentional, as you say, with what do you actually want to achieve and the milestones that you need to reach. And I look at my goals every single day. And I'm constantly auditing. Am I reaching out to the right person? Did I do enough of that task? So prioritization as well. Prioritizing what do you actually need to get done.
We can never get encouraged enough to prioritise, can we? Prioritise the important stuff. The important stuff is the stuff on the dream board. If you ain't got the stuff on the dream board, get the dream board.
I love how you say dream board. I haven't heard that before. People normally say vision board, but I love the dream board idea.
Well, I'm just combining,
absolutely.
Dreaming big with...
But again, that's inspiration, because now I'm thinking, ooh, what else could we add to that dream board?
Yeah. Well, once it's on the dream board, it exists.
It does.
There's a big difference between things existing on a piece of paper
And
physically, so you can see them
yeah.
and touch it, and it being in your mind.
And I carry my dream board with me every single day.
Oh my God.
It's in the bag. And I did it without intentionally doing it at the beginning. It was just in my bag for a few days. And I thought, oh, but I think that's all part of keeping it close to you, but envisioning what you want, having it in my bag. And I have kind of a workshop that I do for Dream Big. I carry that with me. And you'd be surprised, when I was doing volunteering, I handed them out, a couple of the little packs, because I had them with me. And people, when you give them an opportunity, they take it. Never be afraid to kind of talk, and if you really believe in your business and your concept and your idea, talk about it.
Really powerful. I've not heard that example before, where I literally carry my dream board around with me everywhere I go.
Maybe superstitious, but
there's a process called the internalization process. When you're around something long enough, you begin to internalize it.
yeah,
You get reminded of it. That's why if your dream boards, as you walk into the office or out of the office, every time you walk past it, you see it, and gradually over time you get that reminder, visual reminder all the time, and you begin to internalize it. Now you've taken that on steroids.
yeah,
You take your dream board with you everywhere you go.
yeah.
that is massive for the internalisation process. Our dream board, we do ours as a family on New Year's Day every day. And our dream board sits above our staircase. So when you walk down the staircase,
I love that.
everyone,
Yeah,
we're all
see
walking
it.
up and down the staircase every single day. So the kids, my wife,
Yeah.
we get to see our dreams every time we walk down it. So it's in a really important place in the house. What's been the hardest lesson you've had to learn in life?
Possibly what you mentioned about not being liked and getting used to that. I think the hardest lesson for me is not everyone gets to go with you on the journey and the mission. Unfortunately, you can't take everyone. You have to be selective in some ways, and it's who you surround yourself with as well, and it's the conversations that you have when you're building a business, building a career. You've got to get yourself in a really good mental state and then physically as well, so you're ready to have those types of conversations, be at those tables, be in those rooms. Not everyone's going to get that. They don't see what you see, and that you have to just keep reminding yourself that I see it, so that's okay.
What's the most beautiful thing about feedback?
It's made me who I am. It really has. Some of the toughest feedback I've been given. I wouldn't be here. Dream Big wouldn't have been born. It came out of feedback, and now I know who I am. And I really know what I'm here for. Best gift. The hardest lessons in life produce the best outcomes.
What's the most beautiful thing about burnout?
It's really taught me the art of boundaries, saying no. I can't do everything. And I think when you're an entrepreneur, a solo founder, or you do have a co-founder and a team, but you're still a startup and you're still in that phase. Even when you're a big company, you can't say yes to everything. You've really got to know what you want. So it's taught me to know what I want.
What's the most beautiful thing about dreaming big?
Most beautiful thing, there's no limits. Do anything. Nothing's off the table.
Are you a
Never.
reader?
I am.
What's the best business book you've ever read?
Oh,
Or personal development book, either?
I would say, oh gosh, I used to really be into reading autobiographies a couple of years ago, and I think Steve Jobs, his autobiography, I've just never forgotten.
There's a couple of autobiographies there, but one of them is about that thick. It's a real
yes, and
weapon.
it's that
Did you
one
read
that I read, and I think it was just under 600 pages. It really changed my perspective. I remember reading that he dropped out of university, but then he dropped into a calligraphy course, and that became the typeface of the MacBook for Apple. Had he not have dropped in, he wouldn't have learnt that. Be open.
Dropped out and dropped in.
Dropped in, and that's his phrase that he used. And I think it's so magical because remain open to upskilling, and you never know what you're going to learn. Drop into that lecture, drop into that seminar, drop into that event.
It's interesting that, though, that as a mindset principle, he didn't say I dropped out.
Said I dropped in.
He said I dropped in.
I know, and I've never forgotten that when I read it. And he mentioned it, I think, in a couple of his speeches. So that book just really, it just brought it home for me. And he didn't care what anybody thought about him. He was on his mission, he had his purpose, and that was it.
You know what my favourite thing about this has been? A couple of things. Number one, you said I've burnt out 3 times.
Yeah.
It's quite vulnerable to start with, that is. I mean, and you kind of grabbed my attention straight away as soon as you said that. And this is real. Burnout is real, guys.
Yeah.
And these are the things that I needed to pay attention to, and this is how I'm correcting it moving forward. Second thing that I really liked is not the dream board, but your ability to articulate what your dream board's all about. Leading with courage.
Yeah.
You know, not waiting for permission. Come on, I'll go for it.
It's not easy, and honestly, I would say it's been years. It's been such a journey, but I'm still on the journey. God knows where life's going to take me, but I'm excited. And we haven't touched on that today, the excitement that comes with building. I know a lot of entrepreneurs will feel the same, you feel the same, just being in it, because it's not going to be like that forever. We might not have to hustle as hard in a couple of years' time, but And I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss really having to go for it. Every time I outreach, I think, oh, come on.
Enjoy the pain, guys. Enjoy
it,
the process.
Because honestly, it's you're not going to be there forever. You're going to get past it. You're going to be on to the next thing. So just enjoy it.
And in the great words of Alex Forsyth, folks, go for it.
Go for it.
Alex, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
The only name you need to know when your business is ready to grow.